After the Dallas Goedert injury, are the Philadelphia Eagles going to make a move at tight end? Also, I'm going to explain and break down why the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the National Football League. All of that coming your way on today's Eagles Now, but first, we are 500 subscribers away from 62,000. Let's do it for Jason Kelce, the best center in the history of this organization and one of the best centers of all time. And of course, he's always going to be one of us. With that, let's start the show. Plenty to get to today on this Tuesday. I'm Chase Sr. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now, and today's show is presented by Roan. On yesterday's show, I was wearing the commuter button-up, and today, the commuter polo. The commuter collection has everything that you need for your closet essentials, and we have a great deal for all of you. 20% off if you use the code CHATSPORTS at roan.com/chatsports. Wrinkle release technology, anti-odor technology, high-quality men's clothing that's going to last a long time and allow you to look good. Whether you're playing 18 holes of golf, you're taking your girl or your significant other out for a date, or you're hitting the town with your homies. Why I love Roan and all of their products: high-quality men's clothing, breathable and stretchable fabric, no need to go to the dry cleaner because of the anti-wrinkle technology. You're not going to smell with these clothes either, and everything that you need for your wardrobe is what the commuter collection has to offer. We're talking dress shirts, polos, pants, shorts, and more. Check it out for yourself. That link is down below, hanging out in the comment section as well as in the description of this video. Code CHATSPORTS, 20% off at roan.com/chatsports. So the topic of today's show. Yesterday we broke down the breaking news about Dallas Goedert having that fracture in his forearm, expected to be out for a few weeks. Now, could Howie Roseman be looking to add to this roster at that tight end position by bringing in a player externally? Here's the latest on Dallas Goedert's injury, and since we did that breaking news video yesterday, Nick Sirianni had a press conference. There's video coming out of Marquese Bell's tackle of Dallas Goedert. I think it's deemed somewhat controversial, and obviously everybody who was watching the game saw the tackle take place with all of the replays, but the video that I'm talking about is one that I posted on my Twitter account. Slow motion of Bell kind of grabbing Goedert's arm after he stiff-armed him, twisting it, and then Goedert puts all of his weight on that arm, and that seems to be how that forearm fracture happened. Now, Philadelphia, very hopeful that Goedert is going to be able to make a quick recovery. Last year, he missed 5 games with a shoulder injury that he suffered in the first loss of the year, actually, to the Washington Commanders, and Nick Sirianni said that the timeline here, they're hoping, is somewhat similar, but the question now becomes, will the Eagles look to add a tight end to this roster if they don't like the options currently on this Eagles team? Let's hear from Nick Sirianni, and of course, he's going to give us a little bit of an insight into how Howie Roseman's mind works. Sirianni saying this: we're hopeful that Dallas Goedert will make a good, clean recovery, and he'll be back soon. When he's ready to be back, though, Howie always does a great job looking to improve the football team. That's important to note there. So we like the guys that we have on this roster. We are excited about them. We're excited about them to get an opportunity. There are different ways that you can supplement not having Dallas Goedert also. It does not just fall on Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra, Albert Okwuegbunam. It just doesn't fall on those 3 guys, right? You can supplement it sometimes with different personnel groupings as well. We feel like we have some good options. So with what Sirianni said, of course we know, and we talk about this all the time, right? With these trade rumors that are out there, Eagles making some of these roster moves, that Howie Roseman, one of the more uber-aggressive general managers in the sport, maybe even the most hyper-aggressive general manager in the National Football League, always looking for ways to bulk up this roster. But right now, it looks like Philadelphia pretty content with the current players on this team. But why Dallas Goedert will be missed, and he will be missed, first of all, the clearest note, he's one of the best tight ends in football. And he impacts the run as well as the pass game. I've said before here on the show, I think he's the best all-around tight end in the NFL, meaning how good of a blocker he is, because he's elite, but he's also a very good pass catcher. You combine those two things, he is a weapon. And when he's on the field, other teams don't know if he's going to be a blocker for a running play or go out for a pass play, down the seam, down the number, but he goes into the flat. You can hit him with the little bubble screen. He diversifies this offense. In addition to having A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the field, you run some verticals, you run some crossers, you run some post routes. Dallas Goedert can kind of sneak in that vacant space. I don't think the Eagles use him enough in the red zone, but he is a red zone threat. And I want to hone in on this last note here. He turns garbage into gold. What I mean by that, you throw a quick bubble screen to the outside, you get some blockers out in front, it might look like Dallas Goedert is not going to pick up any yards. Hurdles a man, runs through a tackler. He turns hard yards into easy yards seemingly. And what could be a minimal gain into a monster gain, or he moves the chains in a critical spot. For instance, his route tree is very diversified as well. Philadelphia, that first drive of the game against the Dallas Cowboys, Hertz lofted and layered that beautiful ball to Dallas Goedert toward the sideline on like that post or that out or that corner route, whatever it was. And that's a great throw. And that's the Eagles' trust in a player like Dallas Goedert. And he's produced for a really long time. Now, injuries have been a little bit of a concern for him, but you look at what he's done the last 2 years, this is considered like a down year, or at least he was off to a slow start. Goedert, though, 7-1, 8-1 start, 38 catches, 410 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then in 2022, missed those 5 games. He was on his way to having a career year, still finished with 55 catches, 702 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, he could be utilized a little bit more in the red zone. I always love some of those route concepts where the tight end is going down the seam, especially out of that RPO action, where Jaylen Hertz's vision is already right here. He can throw a dot to Goedert. They don't really utilize him in that sense all that much, but he's one of the best all-around tight ends in the NFL, and he will be missed. In the 5 games that he was out in 2022, Eagles really struggled to come up with production at that tight end position. Eagles tight ends in those 5 games total had just 14 catches for 143 yards and only 1 touchdown. That's good for a per-game average of 2.8 catches and 28.5 yards. Ever since I've been an Eagles fan, the Eagles have really utilized tight ends in their offense, and now will they have to pivot off of that if they don't have confidence in Stoll Calcaterra and Albert Okwuegbunam. I will say this about the tight ends on this roster. What I do like is how they have different games respectively. Jack Stoll, solid blocker. Calcaterra, solid blocker and pass catcher, a pretty good athlete. And then I want to see the Eagles unleash Albert Okwuegbunam. This guy is a freak athlete who can come down with some jump balls. He just wows you with the body type that he has. He is an awful blocker, but he's a really gifted pass catcher. A positive spin to this, though, when Goedert was out last year, and this is something that we can look forward to when the Eagles return from the bye week against Kansas City, and then that schedule really starts to get difficult. Bills, Niners, Seahawks, Cowboys all coming up over the next month and change, is that when Goedert was out last year, Devontae Smith elevated his play. And you go back to what Sirianni said earlier with that quote, it doesn't just fall on the tight ends. We can change things up elsewhere outside of tight end. That's what the Eagles did last year, because Smitty averaged 5 catches per game, 84 yards, and scored 2 touchdowns during that stretch when Goedert was out. So should the Eagles sign a tight end? This is today's poll question. We want to hear from you down in the comment section here. S for sign, N for no need. You want to see what the players can do on this roster, knowing that Goedert hopefully is going to be out only, 4 or 5 weeks? Let me know down below in the chat. To round out the show here, I'm going to explain why the Eagles are the best team in football going into the bye week with an NFL best record of 8-1. And there are a lot of reasons why Philadelphia is playing this way and why when you watch them, you have confidence in this team, because this is a confident bunch. It starts with the quarterback and the head coach. Also starts with the general manager and the owner. I love just the business-like approach that this organization has, but the confidence that trickles down from ownership all the way to the locker room. Look, first off, the Eagles are 8-1, and they had the best record in football. But I also think that they are more multiple than any team in the NFL and they can win with several styles. And what I mean by a football team being multiple: shootout, they can win it. Low-scoring game, they can win it. Ugly game, they can come out victorious. If they turn the rock over and go down like they did 14-3 against Washington, they never bat an eye. And the Eagles have shown an ability that championship teams possess. They can win close games, and they're flat out good at winning, and they're good at coming back against teams. In addition to them being multiple, they need to run the football. Oftentimes they can. If they need to throw the football, they can. What's impressive about this Eagles start here, and maybe a blessing in disguise with Jaylen Herz hurting from that knee injury, he's been asked to win from the pocket, and he's done so successfully. That's great news for his development this year, but also moving forward as the franchise quarterback for this organization. I also think, obviously, that the talent pops for Philadelphia. They are super talented, but they're also well coached. Nick Sirianni continues to be slept on. He continues to be one of the best coaches in the NFL. And how about the adjustments that Sean Desai has made mid-game, in-game with that tactical approach this year, especially halftime against the Cowboys? 17 points in the first half, 6 points in that second half. The Eagles, and shout out to Ruben Frank, NBC Sports Philadelphia, for some of these numbers here. The Eagles are the first team in 23 years since the 2000 Titans to go 8-1 or 9-0 without winning a single game by more than 14 points. And 40 teams have been 8-1 or 9-0 since then. Pretty wild. The Eagles have also outscored their 9 opponents by just 57 points. That is the 4th smallest point differential by an 8-1 or 9-0 team in NFL history. Last year was so rare because the Eagles went 14-3 and they were blitzing everybody. They oftentimes went into the locker room at halftime with the multi-score lead. I like that they have to be tough. I like that they have to play the full game, sometimes come back. That builds championship pedigree. Since week 10 of 2021, almost 2 years ago, the Eagles, remember when Nick Sirianni first took over, 2021, they got off to a bad start. Since that point, they are 26-3 when Jaylen Herz is their starting quarterback. That's actually insane. Some people like to say, Herz, he's not a franchise guy. Winning isn't a quarterback stat. He sets the example for the rest of the organization. Everybody follows his lead. He is the face of the organization, the face of the franchise. 26-3 since week 10 of 2021. You don't often see multi-year runs like this of teams having high levels of success in the NFL because of the parity of this league, injury attrition, but it's the NFL. It's very competitive every single year. Even with the 2-5 start in 2021, Nick Sirianni now has the 4th highest career winning percentage of 284 NFL coaches who have coached at least 3 seasons. He is 31-12, and only Guy Chamberlain, who won 4 NFL titles in the 1920s, including one with the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets in 1926. Remember when the Eagles wore those jerseys in the early 2000s with Donovan McNabb and Brian Westbrook? I believe the opponent was the Detroit Lions, the yellow and blue jerseys, but first coach since then in 1926, and fellow Hall of Famers, John Madden and Vince Lombardi, they have a higher winning percentage than Sirianni's 721 winning percentage. And if the Eagles can go 3-2 in this next stretch against the Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys, and Seahawks, 5 teams that happen to be 11-11 over the past 3 weeks, Eagles will take an 11-3 record into the season-ending run where they go up against the Giants 2 times in the final 3 weeks with the Cardinals sandwich in between. Back-to-back potential 14-3 seasons could be likely for this team. Again, embrace it and appreciate it because this stuff is rare. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of you for supporting the show. More content coming your way every day because that's what we do here on Eagles Now.